Hi, this is Angela Breidenbach, and you know me as an author, and I write romance through the ages. But what I wanted to do today was explain to you why this day is particularly important in Montana, because this is the anniversary of the big blow-up. That was an amazingly famous fire that happened in 1910, 107 years ago today. This is the anniversary of that. Everyone else today happens to be watching, at this moment, probably the beginning of the eclipse. It's just starting to happen. But what I wanted to share with you is, as I turn around and you see behind me, yes, the sun is in front of me still. It has not eclipsed. Right behind me, right back here, is where there is a huge mountain range, and you cannot see it because of the amount of smoke coming from over 20,000 acres of a wildfire that was sparked by lightning on July 15th. Today is August 21st, 2017, 107 years after the big blow-up, where 3 million acres burned between Idaho and Montana. It took out an entire ecosystem where we used to have the trees that were cedars and much more of a wet style forest throughout Idaho and Montana. Now we have lodgepole pines. And what's amazing about all of this is that the entire ecosystem switched to the lodgepole pines because of the fire that burned 3 million acres. Here in Montana, this is going on while, as you can see, there's a housing area that is being built behind me. People are still having to live and work. And all over the world, there's different things that happen in different areas that make you think, why don't they just move? Well, Montana, it's forest fires, definitely. This is forest fire season, July, August, into September. We won't see the end of these forest fires until we get heavy snows. So it'll be much colder, much wetter, much more snow toward the winter. But other areas, they deal with tornadoes, they deal with typhoons, they do deal with the mudslides and things like that. Here, we deal with winter and forest fire season. But I wanted to share this with you. I'm up on top of Miller Creek Hill because this is the best view of our missing mountains. You could have Where's Waldo going on and he'd be searching for his mountains. But right now, here in Montana, we're dealing with heavy smoke, and you can tell a little gravelly voice. A lot of us are dealing with coughing, sore throats, eye infections, things like that because of the smoke. But I want you to think back 107 years ago. 107 years ago, 3 million acres versus the 20,000 acre one that is just about 15 miles away from me. And then there's about 15 other fires going on around our state. The top 10 fires in the nation right now are happening in Montana, and the biggest problem is that a lot of homes are being threatened. We know of people that have lost at least 2 homes just nearby, and we asked for prayer. But I wanted to share with you this because today is the anniversary, the largest fire in U.S. history, and I cannot imagine what those people went through 107 years ago for what we go through today with firefighting crews. But out of that fire came one of the most important tools that they use to fight forest fires today, and that's the Pulaski tool, Ed Pulaski. And he does a little bit of a cameo in my book. It's in the Second Chance Brides collection, and I wrote the story Fanned Embers. And that is a story about 2 people who are at odds, who must survive the big blow-up, the fire of 1910, the 3 million acres that burned. And Missoula is the area that actually took in a lot of the refugees from that fire. And I cannot imagine how socked in by smoke they were compared to what we already are. And like I said, you can see behind me, you can't even see the mountains. I think back then, if it were 3 million acres, you might not have even been able to see your hand in front of your face, and yet the community was taking people in. So I'm glad I have the opportunity to share this with you. I'm very surprised that my book was able to come out at the time that it did to celebrate this experience of 107 years ago, but at a time when we're going through quite a challenge as it is right now. So please pray for the people of Montana. And if you're interested in the Pulaski tool and how firefighters fought fires back then, It's called the Second Chance Brides collection from Barbour Publishing. And no, Barbour really didn't know they were going to be releasing this book at the same time as the anniversary of the largest fire in U.S. history. It just happened that this is all happening again. And I'm just grateful to be able to tell that story and to be able to share the anniversary of that, of the very hardy people of Montana and Idaho, Pacific Northwest. Trucks and fire equipment and cars going by right now, so that's the noise you're hearing. But I also just felt like it was very significant, a weighty day in history to be able to share this with you, and hopefully we'll be able to get through this without the damages that happened 107 years ago, because now we have things like Ed Pulaski's fireman's fighting tool, the Pulaski, and now we have bombers that can drop retardant and helicopters that can drop 2,000 gallons of water at a time. Unfortunately, when the fires get out of control like this, they really don't, they're not able to put them fully out for months. But we're grateful that they're able to save more lives and more homes than they could have ever done 107 years ago. So thanks for being with me today. I just felt like it was such an important day to remember for history, for the people of Montana, Idaho, Pacific Northwest, for the people of the country. There's a lot of dates in history that we just don't know anymore, and I hope that this helps to bring it to light. And if you'd like to know more about Fanned Embers and the Second Chance Brides collection, you can find it anywhere books are sold, and you can also look at my website, AngelaBreidenbach.com. And while you're doing all of that, if it's on your mind, please pray for the people here that are battling the fires, that are saving homes for people, and those that are battling the smoke for the illnesses that we deal with. Thanks for being with me. All right.